Good day, folks. How you doing today? Hope everyone is doing fantastic and feeling groovy. Realizing, of course, that the government really doesn't love you, and also realizing that pretty much everything you've been told since the day you were born is a lie. It is July the 22nd of 2025, 4:40 p.m. Mr. Buzz coming to you from the communist shithole known as Ontario, Canada. Get anything out of this video, please give me a thumbs up. That's all I ask. And it is with great sadness I make this video. Ozzy Osbourne has died. Now, I once thought possibly he was like Keith Richards, and if there's a nuclear war, the only thing that's going to be left is cockroaches and Keith Richards. Nothing else will survive except them. And I thought Ozzy might be the same way. He survived the most severe drug abuse possible. I mean, for real. The man did more drugs than they have in 50 pharmacies. He's just about up there with Keith Richards. Actually, I think the one who's done the most drugs of all is actually Nikki Sixx from Motley Crue. And the reason I think that is because when he was in the height of his drug use, Steven Tyler actually called him up and said, "Dude, I think you're doing too many drugs." And when Steven Tyler tells you that, you might want to have a look at that. Because Steven Tyler saying you're doing too much, yeah, you're probably doing too much. So Ozzy was up there with them guys. He actually toured with Motley Crue. Motley Crue tells the stories about the big bags of cocaine and stuff in his pockets everywhere. I mean, he was just a wild man. I don't know how he died yet. I just literally found this out a little bit ago. Now, I don't listen to Ozzy Osbourne music anymore. I don't listen to Black Sabbath. I've mentioned that in videos. That I try not to listen to anything that's from the pits of hell, which, Black Sabbath especially was indeed very demonic music. Very demonic. But one thing I will say is Ozzy actually praised God in many of his songs. And on stage would say things like, "God bless you all." And he spoke of God many, many times and positively. He didn't claim to be anything but a believer in the Lord. So where he really was with it, he also called himself the Prince of Darkness. So I'm not really sure. It's up for debate whether he was actually a believer in the Lord or if he was on the dark side. I don't know. I can't say that for sure. The life he lived was definitely not godly. That's for sure. He did some really disgusting, awful things. Motley Crue told a story one time in an interview about how he took a crap in a hotel room and scooped it up and painted the walls with it and stuff. He's a pretty bad dude. But regardless of all that, it's not my job to judge anybody on this earth. He entertained the world. He gave the world a lot of, I have to say, some good music, some really good vocal work he did. Great lyrics, some of them. As they say, he didn't really tell you to go out and worship the devil or anything like that. Black Sabbath was a little bit on that side, but he had songs like "So Tired" and "Goodbye to Romance" and some really excellent love songs. And he's kind of a phenomenon because, you'd think someone the way he was would be just all out devil worshiping whatever, but he really didn't seem to be. So I don't know. I'm not going to be happy about his death either way. I'm going to miss Ozzy, especially the comedy like the show The Osbournes, nobody can argue I mean, that was funny. He was throwing rubber chickens at his neighbors. I mean, I get some real good laughs out of that. Now, you did need subtitles because you couldn't understand a word the man said. He had his own way of talking. Some people understood him. Most people didn't. You need some kind of decoder. Subtitles on the screen. That's the only way I could understand anything he said. But rest in peace, Ozzy. John Michael Osborne was his actual name. From Birmingham, England. That's where he was born. He was 70... I think they said 72. I can't remember how old he was when he just died, but yeah, I don't even know the cause of death. Not sure. I hope, for the sake of his soul, that he was on the right side of things and the Lord was able to forgive him for, a lot of the questionable things he did. I'm sure Sharon, his wife, has taken this very badly because she absolutely loved him and put up with more garbage from him than you can ever imagine. He cheated on her, and he was near death all the time with drugs. He survived a four-wheeler accident that just about finished him off quite a few years ago. It's like a cat with 9 lives, basically. But I, for one, will miss his entertainment. I found him... He was actually a highly intelligent guy. A lot of people make fun of him, just being burnt out and having damaged brain cells, which, yeah, he had to be to some extent, but he was no dummy at all. He knew what he was doing. And another thing I just learned, he's the only metal star like that to ever have 2 albums chart at the same time. And I heard that he had the number 1 and number 2 album at the same time. So that's pretty impressive. And no one can deny, in that world, I mean, he was considered the man. He was it. He could, the Prince of Darkness. I'm the Prince of freaking Darkness. And it wasn't freaking, he said, but that's the word I'll use. So rest in peace, Ozzy. If you haven't heard about this until this video, I'm sure this will shock you. Like I say, I thought he was kind of like Keith Richards, and nothing would ever kill him, but something has, which has made me feel quite sad this afternoon. I wasn't very pleased to hear that at all. These, I'm not one of these people that idol worship these people. I definitely don't. I did when I was a little kid, and I didn't know any better. But I still feel a great sadness when one of these guys leaves the world, because there's hardly any of them left, and it's a constant reminder of how old I am. That's how you know you're old, when all your childhood idols, they're all dead. There's been so many that really bothered me, like Tom Petty, Glenn Frey, David Bowie, all these guys that gave us so much music. I just, hate to hear when one of them leaves the world. So rest in peace, Ozzy. I don't really have anything else to say. I feel quite sad. I'm sure there's somebody out there watching this who also does. So hopefully you went to the right place, Ozzy. I'm really hoping you did. Really hoping you did. Because I don't think he was a bad guy. I mean, he did some bad things, but we all do, right? I don't think he was a bad man. I think he was actually a pretty good man. I know his family really loved him. And a whole bunch of the world really loved him. So rest in peace, Ozzy Osbourne. And remember, everyone, that Jesus Christ is the way, the truth, and the life.